Indah Gunawan.
Yes,
Soalnya.
that is I.
Kak Indah Ji tentunya sekarang dikenal
Mhm.
sebagai content creator
Yes.
dan bisa dibilang banyak bersuara
Mhm.
soal isu-isu sosial,
Mhm.
politik,
Mhm.
kemanusiaan,
Yep.
dan itu banyak pasti turunannya ya, gender,
Mhm.
kesetaraan perempuan,
Mhm.
hal-hal yang semuanya di ranah politik gitu.
Yep.
Dan bisa dilihat di seluruh sosial media Kak Indah,
Mhm.
memang majority dan hampir semua adalah tentang vocal,
Yep.
bersuara akan sesuatu gitu kan,
Yep.
berargumen, pendapat,
Mhm.
your point of view.
Mhm.
Pertanyaannya, kenapa begitu vokal dalam menyuarakan pandangan?
Kenapa begitu vokal dengan menyuarakan pandangan? So, I guess the first thing that I want to get across is that aku tuh nggak pernah mengharapkan aku merekam sebuah video, aku mengungkapkan sebuah kalimat that is really just at the end of the day my opinion.
Oke.
Aku tuh nggak pernah mengharapkan aku post apapun di sosial media dan aku ekspektasinya kayak semua orang akan pasti setuju dengan pendapatnya aku. Okay, absolutely not. I think like that's the first thing that I wanna get across. I feel like people not look at me in a sort of weird way, but I feel like there is this attitude of like, why would you post like certain opinions or certain viewpoints that you have on the world, on politics, that you know people are going to disagree with you on and you're going to get a lot of hate for it. I get that question a lot from not just my friends but people in general, and I feel like the thing with me is I want to be able to normalize having conversations.
Okay.
At the core of it is that I want for us to be able to talk about issues that especially are, difficult issues that nobody wants to talk about, that often kind of get just shoved to, the back of the closet. Because there's really, if you want to talk about progress, and I live by a certain, I have a motto, it's being provocative for progress. That's definitely something that people notice about me. Like I come across as being very provocative online.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I do because I want attention or because I want followers. Trust me, if I wanted a lot of followers, I wouldn't have chosen politics. And I wouldn't have chosen, kayak ranahnya, kan ranah politics ya. If I wanted a lot of followers, I wouldn't have chosen politics, first of all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have chosen to specialize specifically on taboo and controversial topics. Where was I going with this? I'm so distracted by the Indomie. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like really hungry.
Dimakan Kak Indah.
But, provocative for progress is because I acknowledge that progress cannot be gauged without backlash. And progress cannot be changed without us challenging our comfort zones. I feel that one of the problems with Indonesian society, dan tentu saja Indonesian society itu banyak problem-problem lainnya ya, tapi salah satunya kalau menurut aku itu karena kita itu tidak mau, bukan tidak bisa ya, tidak mau membahas topik-topik yang sebenarnya itu bukan hanya, not only are these topics and issues that affect a lot of people's lives, and it affects a lot of more people's lives than we realize behind the scenes, but it's also topics that inevitably affect every aspect of our economic development,
Okay.
Our just general political development. And yeah, I mean, I guess the simple way, I'm not being very articulate today. Yeah, I guess the reason why I do what I do is just because I feel like there are a lot of things that Indonesian society has to come to terms with, of like, this is where we are and we can become a lot better. And I feel like it all starts with being able to have conversations and to tackle issues that are uncomfortable.
Berarti datangnya awal dari keresahan.
Yeah.
Ada
Oh yeah.
punya keresahan akan sesuatu
Mhm.
yang Kak Indah lihat di our society.
Yeah.
Terus motivasinya apa? Apakah dengan upaya-upaya yang Kak Indah lakukan di sosial media itu mau membawa perubahan kah?
Mhm.
Atau mau merubah cara berpikir? Atau cuman mau numpahin keresahan aja? What is the motivation?
In the beginning, why I started making the contents that I was making was with the intention of, first and foremost, I think, to just signal to the world that, hey, people like me exist, or that people that, like, hey, for example, with LGBT, like, I'm a very outspoken ally of the LGBT community. The rights of LGBTQ people is something that I've championed, like, since the very beginning, and I've always been very open about that. Obviously, like, I'm a cis heterosexual woman, like, I'm not part of the community, but the little things, like, to signal, like, hey, you have cis heterosexual allies here in Indonesia. Like, there are people like me that will fight for your right to live equitable kehidupan yang layak dan yang sejahtera, just the same as everybody else. So in the beginning, it was really to just signal that, hey, Indonesia is not just a political monolith. The one thing that I do notice in certain collectivistic societies like Indonesia, there is a social pressure for everybody to abide by the exact same political values, the exact same worldviews, have the exact same opinions, and differences in those are usually shunned, and really not something that is appreciated. So in the beginning, it was really to just solidify, hey, there are people with different opinions about the way, the state of how our country is going, the state of our society. There are people with all of these different values that, yes, society might shun, but like, hey, we're here, and there are people like me that we will fight for certain issues that, perhaps are not welcomed in Indonesian society to be talked about, and yet here I am. So that was the
Okay.
motivation in the beginning. And then over time, as I realized that I was starting to have an impact, it did come with the intention of, I want to solidify myself as somebody that is hopefully, one day I am able to have some modicum of influence in order to maybe not change people's perspective, because again, like, I don't think it's productive for me to hope that I can change anybody's perspective. I
Okay.
understand that some people, like, they'll just believe whatever they want to believe, even if I give the best argument,
Yeah.
even if I
Dengan riset segala
ya
macam.
meresearch segala macam, like, akan ada aja kan yang mereka
Yeah.
mau percaya, itu yang mereka percaya. But at the very least, I think it's to, like, I want to be able to position myself as somebody within the political landscape of Indonesia, as somebody that can influence the political landscape in terms of being able to mengangkat isu-isu tertentu, biar isu-isu itu lebih kelihatan lah.
Berarti sesuatu yang menjadi keresahan bagi Kak Indah,
Ya,
dan ini kayak this is my angle
ya,
yang perlu dibicarain, yang mungkin kebanyakan orang nggak bicarain.
ya.
Berarti mau kayak ngebuka, bisa dibilang,
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's one angle. Like, there's a sort
to
of
open up something yang orang banyak nggak ketahuin. Dan apakah tadi Kak Indah sempat mention fight, to fight, berarti there is a sense of responsibility,
yeah.
kayak tanggung jawab, dan apakah apa yang Kak Indah lakuin itu akhirnya berimpact?
Menurut aku, apakah itu
Yeah.
apakah ada impact-nya? I think, if we're talking about big impact, I mean, so much of this is subjective, right? Like, depends on who you ask, and
Yeah.
depends on who's, like, according to whose perspective, like, whether or not I'm actually making a difference.
Just
I mean,
for your point of view.
just from my point of view, the one thing, I obviously with the kind of shit that I do online, I get a lot of really nasty comments and DMs from people that tell me to go kill myself and that, would say things like aku layak dibunuh, layak diperkosa rame-rame kayak apa kayak. But the thing that gets me going and the thing that reassures me that what I am doing does have an impact, albeit even if it is small, even if it is unnoticeable, even if nobody knows of the impact. But I will get DMs from a lot of people from across Indonesia. Very heartfelt, very genuine messages that do, thank me for what I am doing. At the very least, it's just the comfort of them knowing that, oh, I'm not the only one. In certain cases, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. For example, when I talked about the fact that I come from a family background, my mom's not married, aku anak di luar kawin, I don't have a dad, jadi mama aku tuh single mom.
Okay.
Just even stuff, the simple things like talking about that stuff out in the open has brought comfort to people that come from very similar backgrounds as me, and has empowered them to stand more firm in their truth of just like, no, yeah, I don't have I had a kid out of wedlock, or like, yeah, no, I had a deadbeat dad, my dad's absent, and what of it, or messages from, I definitely get a lot of messages from queer people, queer Indonesians that would thank me for, hey, like, it feels really, it gives me hope to know that there is somebody out there, a cis heterosexual person that is a public figure that is willing to stand up for our rights to live and, for our rights in general. And yeah, so, it's messages like those where I realize that what I am doing is more than just getting engagement and going viral online, but
Numbers,
it's actually, it's not really, I promise you, at the end of the day, it's really not about the numbers. If I wanted numbers, I could have done other things.
Banyak pilihan lain ya.
Yeah, no, there's so many other options, banyak banget. Kalau cuma soal engagement atau views atau mau followers kayak gitu, tapi like what I do does have impact on select individuals. Again, you can argue seberapa banyak lagi yang kayak oke, itu bisa diperdebatkan, tapi kalau menurut aku ya, satu orang pun yang aku bisa membantu itu, it's worth it,
Oke.
Yeah.
Dan yang bersuara pasti kan banyak public figure ya, nggak cuman
of course,
Indah sebenarnya.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. Tapi faktanya kita bisa lihat di social media, there is so many pro kontra gitu kan.
Yeah.
Banyak banget pro kontranya di social media.
Yeah.
Di Twitter, di Instagram, di TikTok.
Yeah, everywhere.
Iya, dan
ya
bisa dilihat, dan tadi Kak Indah sempat mention juga di komen, di DM. Pertanyaannya menurut Kak Indah, kenapa banyak orang tidak setuju dengan argumen yang Kak Indah suarain?
I definitely.
Karena kan banyak juga kan bersuara, tapi mungkin nggak sekontroversi Kak Indah.
A trait of mine, salah satu character traits-nya aku yang kayaknya banyak orang bisa like y'all can concur to. Aku kan super frontal ya, super kayak direct, transparan kayak gitu, apa adanya. Aku orangnya tuh nggak suka bullshit.
Oke.
Aku nggak suka basa-basi how do you say in Indonesian? I like to sugarcoat, sugarcoating. Aku orangnya bukan tipe kayak gitu. Jadi kan mungkin a big portion of that itu sebenarnya bukan idenya sendiri, tapi mungkin cara aku delivernya yang super blak-blakan dan super kayak frontal aja kayak gitu. Karena sebenarnya kalau kita ngomongin ide-idenya sendiri, Panji Pragiwaksono pasti tahu lah.
Of course.
Aku sama Panji, kita political values-nya tuh sama. Kebanyakan sama. Aku bukan bilang like Panji and I like share the exact same political beliefs 100%. Obviously that's that's impossible. But in terms of like where we align on the political spectrum, like Panji and I are very similar. We share a lot of the same values. Cuman ya mungkin bisa diargumenkan cara kita delivernya itu mungkin agak beda. Tapi enggak juga sih, kayak misalnya kayak si Panji itu kan dia juga super kayak
blak-blakan.
Ya, blak-blakan. Tapi sebenarnya, and I'm just gonna be so honest here, if you want my honest evaluation, there are times where I felt that it's super unfair that I say the exact same things that a lot of my male cohorts that are active and talking about politics online, but they don't get as harsh of a response from the public as I do, and I feel like it really boils down to the difference of gender. I think is one.
Ada perspektif ke sana ya.
Ada perspektif yang ke sana juga, dan sebenarnya ada indikator bahwa itu benar dalam beberapa DM dan komen-komen yang aku terima, karena banyak banget komen-komen dan DM yang aku terima itu juga harus banget membawa aku tuh cewek, harus banget membawa aku tuh Cina misalnya. Jadi ada juga apa kayak what's the word in Indo, unsur-unsur kayak gitu ya.
Iya, unsur-unsur kayak gitu. Jadi kayak ngebahas keras segala macam ya.
Yeah. And I also just feel like there's something very to a lot of Indonesians, something very repulsive about a woman that is very opinionated.
Dan berarti kalau dari yang Kak Indah bilang, cara menyampaikannya kan berarti, how to delivernya. Kepikiran nggak untuk kayak
memperhaluskan?
Merubah strategi untuk menyampaikan pesannya.
Oh yeah, of course. Like I've always been exploring different ways of delivering things. Whether people realize it or not. But yeah, I know I do. Like, try to explore, like, what if I'm like different hooks misalnya, different styles kayak gitu. Tapi ya whether or not you see it, like that's a different story. Dan
belum dapat yang idealnya. Mau stop nggak dapat feedback yang negatif?
Apakah aku mau stop dapat feedback yang negatif? Karena itu kayaknya mustahil deh.
Ya, tapi kayak mengurangi, at least kayak berarti Kak Indah ngambil ini sebagai masalah. It's just a comment. Bukan sebuah problem ya?
Enggak sih. Gimana ya, like whatever strategy I do, no matter how I say it, there are also some people yang udah kalau udah membawa nama aku tuh mereka udah kebawa sensi banget. Kayak mereka udah like I don't think there are definitely a lot of people out there like they can't be objective when it comes to me, because they already have such a strong negative bias towards me, which is fine. Like, I can't even control that. Like I'm not even really tripping about it. But it's just the fact that there are people out there where no matter what I do, like it's just always gonna be wrong. So I'm just like, ya gitulah. Dan apa juga komen-komennya itu pasti selalu aja aku tuh, kita sebagai content creator atau kita sebagai manusia secara umum itu serba salah aja, apalagi online. Ada beberapa komen-komen yang justru menyatakan aku itu kurang direct, aku tuh kurang bisa. Ada juga yang bilang seperti itu. Masalahnya Indah itu apa? There was one comment, I think it was on my video with Rahayu Saraswati, where it's like Indah doesn't do a very good job at holding her ground and like asserting her opinions or apa whatever kayak gitu. Dan itu kan complete opposite yang sebenarnya
orang-orang kebanyakan ngomong.
Yang kebanyakan ngomong, tapi jadi juga ada yang sisinya itu loh.
Iya. Dan faktanya adalah Kak Indah sekarang terus konsisten bersuara, walaupun majority banyak banget hatersnya bisa dibilang, bahkan sempat di-cancel kan.
Multiple times.
Iya. Dan itu kan gini, kenapa masih terus konsisten untuk terus bersuara dengan banyaknya haters dan udah beberapa kali di-cancel?
Aku tuh, disclaimer before I say what I'm about to say, aku tuh bukan menyamakan aku sama Martin Luther King Jr. ya. Aku bukan gitu ya maksudnya. Tapi poinnya aku itu, kalian tahu nggak waktu zamannya si Martin Luther King, civil rights movement in the United States that basically give black people equal rights as everybody else. Tahu nggak kalian zamannya Martin Luther King Jr. itu yang paling banyak membantah dia, yang paling banyak menjelek-jelekan dia, it was other black people. First of all, and back in Martin Luther King Jr.'s time, he was probably one of the most hated people of that time period, like when he was doing the civil rights movement and all that type of stuff. Karena balik lagi yang aku awalnya bilang itu, progress cannot be gauged without backlash. Like there's no alternative way, enggak sih?
Dan do you feel like a fight? Maksudnya kayak ini kayak pertarungan gue nih. ini perangnya gue. Ada mindset ke sana. Kayak
like if this is the fight that I have to fight.
yeah.
Not in a way. I really hope I haven't gone to therapy enough for this one. I probably should. Karena aku juga khawatir apakah aku melakukan hal yang aku melakukan itu karena aku mempunyai sebuah sense of bukan superiority. Do I have this sense of like a savior's complex? Pernah dengar gak sih?
Apa ada rasa heroiknya gitu?
Iya, kayak apa sebuah mindset kayak di mana aku tuh harus menjadi seorang pahlawan gitu.
Menyelamatkan warga gitu.
Iya, aku mudah-mudahan sih bukan itu ya. Tapi kalau as objective as I am able to be with myself, I don't feel like it is an obligation.
Okay.
Karena faktanya aku itu, dan mungkin hopefully this answers your question. Faktanya itu aku datang dari latar belakang sosioekonomi yang sangat-sangat ya cukup, ya lebih dari cukup sebenarnya. Dan sebenarnya kalau aku bener-bener mau, aku tuh nggak usah melakukan. I don't have to do any of this. In fact, if I wanted to, I'm just being so honest. Like
realitanya ya.
Realitanya, like if I didn't want to work a day in my life, I could take that option. You know, so dan nggak enak menjadi musuh di internet, dihujatin, dibully sampai di-harass kayak gitu. Aku pernah di-harass in real life juga. Nggak enak, you know. Dan itu juga menjadi sesuatu yang of course it's stressful for me. So it's like, why is it something that I want to put myself through?
Iya.
Aku merasa itu bukan sesuatu yang karena aku merasa aku itu kayak ini harus banget menjadi taruhannya aku, but I think it's my attitude is more so I come from a position of privilege that I feel so very fortunate to come from, and I resonate a lot with the message of when you have a lot of privilege, for those with power, you need to use that for good, and you need to use that to fight for the people that are not as privileged and don't have as much power as you. And I want to be able to do as much as I can to contribute in the ways that I know how, and whatever impact, big or small. At the end of the day, why I doubt that this is something that I'm doing because I have a hero superiority complex too, is because I realize at the end of the day, it's really not about me. I'm gonna die in what, 80, like 70, 80 years from now? I'm 27 years old. Like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be, not even, I'm gonna be dead in like 60 years.
Rata-rata umur Indonesia ya, warga rakyat Indonesia.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be dead, and for the most part, people, very few people are going to be able to leave a gigantic legacy. Like at the end of the day, 60 years later, I'm gonna die, and then I'm just going to vanish. And like in the grand scheme of things, I'm not gonna leave a legacy. So it's not about me, but it's more so like, did I spend my life being a part of a movement, a fight that is bigger than just about myself, like when I lie on my deathbed, can I look back at my life and be proud of the fact that, hey, like, I did my best. Well, not only that I did my best, but it's like I want to be able to look back at my life and say that I made a difference in people's lives, even if it is just a little difference, and it's very few people.
Oke. Dan berarti masih ada question mark sebenarnya.
Yeah.
Yang belum kejawab gitu. Kenapa gue sampai ngelakuin ini semua? Iya kan? Dan Kak Indah bilang bahwa capek, gue nggak enak jadi musuh masyarakat. Itu faktanya kan?
Iya, of course.
Dan berarti artinya seluruh kejadian atau kontroversi ini tuh kayak bisa dibilang ada dampaknya dong buat secara mentally.
Oh ya, of
Maksudnya,
course.
Kita kan manusia nih. As a human nature pasti punya perasaan. Di cancel, di hate, terlepas dari banyak opini orang ya, tapi kita sebagai pelakunya pasti punya rasa sakit kan. Dari omongan-omongan orang. Kenapa bisa setangguh itu untuk tetap
I feel like
melakukan ini semua?
Balik lagi, disclaimer ya, aku bukan mau sok orang kaya, kayak orang punya duit apa kayak gitu. Maksudnya I feel like I'm able to afford to not give a shit about getting canceled, being hated, because at the end of the day, like I'm fine, Jadi
Oke.
if that, I don't know if that necessarily answers your question, but it's more so like kok aku bisa tahan, bisa.
Ya karena kan nyatanya udah di cancel, dihajar di
Iya.
semua tuh di sosial media.
I mean,
masih
it doesn't feel good, but you know, at the end of the day, I know I'll always be fine. So I think that makes it easier. You know, because I don't take for granted the fact that not a lot of people can do the things that I do. Not a lot of people can afford to do the things that I do. For example, like I don't have to worry about getting fired from my job. I work for myself.
Oke.
Little things like that. Ngerti nggak sih?
Terus ya paham. Berarti how do you feel dari semua ini?
How do I feel about what?
Ya perasaannya kayak
Being a controversial figure
Iya.
online?
Ada nggak suatu malam kayak mau tidur susah tidur terus kayak rasa takut atau ya itu pasti manusia kan ada itunya kan.
Ada. Like I'm not a fucking psychopath. I'm not a sociopath. I have
Yeah.
feelings and I do think about things. And you know, believe it or not, every time I go through moments like you know, of controversy, or like, you know, I have my viral moments, like, and like, of course a lot of people have a lot of criticism to say about me, or the criticism about the way that I do things, whether or not they're written constructively. You know, I do read those inputs and I do reflect on it, like, because aku juga harus ngecek diri aku sendiri dong, kayak apakah yang aku melakukan itu sesuatu yang aku bisa, maksudnya aku juga harus bertanggung jawab dong.
Iya.
Ya kan, aku juga harus bertanggung jawab, aku juga harus introspeksi diri, apakah yang aku melakukan itu, balik lagi, like, am I just doing this because I feel like I want to be a hero, like I want to get attention, or is it something that I actually have some sort of like I have a respectable reason for what I'm doing. So I'm not careless about it. I just settle at, you know what, I'm just gonna keep doing what I am doing, because I know that objectively these are issues, humanitarian issues, economic issues, political issues that, you know, that needs to be discussed. Not only discussed, but like there needs to be things done about these issues. And our first step is, before anything can be done about it, we need to at the very least talk about it.
Okay.
So I could be, my value that I could maybe add is just the fact that I could be the first person to help get the conversation ball going.
Oke.
You see what I'm saying?
Iya.
So
Berarti ada yang lebih besar dari perasaan Kak Indah ya?
iya.
Iya kan, ada yang lebih besar. Dan apakah kayak selama hidup gitu, kayak masa kecil emang udah secara mentally emang udah kuat? Karena kan gini, saat kita misalnya memperjuangkan sesuatu dan let's say feedback yang nggak enak buat kita dan emang udah parah, biasanya kan nyerah, drop, gue berhenti deh. Tapi ini kan nggak berhenti, terus. Itu sih.
Yeah, bisa dikatakan aku orangnya keras kepala, tapi
Okay.
bukan cuma itu aja sih. Tapi I feel like this is where certain personality types have an advantage. Karena kan semua orang kepribadiannya itu beda ya. Like some people are just naturally like, I'm open to confrontation misalnya. Kayak like I don't necessarily see confrontation and, you know, criticism as like a bad thing, and like some people are more sensitive than others misalnya, like some people maybe it's a lot harder to receive constructive criticism. I personally, like, I'm able to exercise a bit more level of objectivity, I suppose, more than like the average person. And I think some personalities also have the advantage of being able to be more nonchalant compared to average. Kayak aku tuh orangnya rada cuek.
Oke, berarti
Jadi
by
juga,
design emang udah.
By design udah kayak aku emang kayak apa? Kulit badak lah beneran.
Oke,
Yeah.
itu udah emang dari by design ya, dari awal udah.
Enggak, emang dari dulu kayak gitu.
Bukan karena ada suatu kejadian yang kayak ngebuat ada turning point-nya gitu nggak ya? Emang
Enggak ya? Kayak
kan
maksudnya,
biasanya setiap orang punya fasenya kan. Gua awalnya nggak kayak gini, terus ada turning point-nya yang ngebuat gua kayak gini.
like a change in personality,
Iya.
kayak gitu. Iya. Kalau dari ingatannya aku, enggak sih, aku emang udah dari dulu tuh cuek, udah pasti aku dari dulu, aku orangnya cuek.
Oke.
Enggak gampang baper.
Nggak gampang baper. Oh,
Nggak.
itu udah
dari dulu.
ininya. Udah asetnya tuh.
Iya.
Iya, udah nggak baperan di tongkrongan atau di teman-teman gitu kan.
Itu udah Udah apa kayak hardware settingnya udah kayak gitu.
Oke.
Kalau sisanya apa ya? Kalau sisanya mungkin lebih ke apa ya? I'm trying to think here. This is a good therapy session for me. Just like introspect on myself.
Ya.
What other qualities
Oh.
about me that I need to think about?
Oke, cuek, keras kepala.
Oh, keras kepala udah dari dulu.
Oke, berarti there is no specific experience atau kejadian gini. Pastinya setiap manusia tadinya misalkan gue baperan atau gue sensitif. Tapi kadang ada suatu tempaan yang ngebuat kita, suatu kejadian yang ngebuat kita sadar kayak, oh gue harus lebih kuat. Ada values yang kita tangkep, entah dari sosial, lingkungan, keluarga, atau apapun mediumnya. Biasanya kan manusia menangkap tuh values baru. Nah berarti artinya secara mentality kayak gue hajar, gue tetap jalan, itu emang udah by nature kan sebenarnya, by design ya.
I think seingat aku.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering myself properly.
Yeah.
Seingat aku tuh emang aku dari dulu itu emang like I have that fighter spirit, kayak whatever I want, like I go out and get it. I don't give a shit what people gotta say.
Oke. Contohnya apa? Fighter spirit sebelum ngelakuin ini.
Fighter spirit sebelum ngelakuin ini.
Apa? Contohnya kan tadi Kak Indah bilang kayak gue orang yang gue bakal dapetin.
I think a feature of me that has definitely been present ever since I was a young person is the sense of I feel very strongly about justice and fairness. And when something isn't just and when something isn't fair, misalnya ini cerita, ini bodoh banget. Waktu aku masih kecil.
Oke. Umur?
6th grade.
Oke.
Apa tuh? 11, 12.
Ya. Kelas 6 kan, kelas 6 SD.
Ada kan cowok adalah satu cowok di kelasnya aku, dia tuh bully banget lah.
Oke.
Jadi pas waktu rehat, waktu pas lagi
istirahat.
Ya, waktu istirahat, break time.
Oke.
So everybody went out to lunch. Ini mungkin keep in mind, I was like 11 or 12 years old. This is honestly it was super irresponsible and sebenarnya nggak menghasilkan apapun yang produktif ya. Tapi gara-gara dia itu orangnya bully, kayak beneran semua orang itu dibully dan dia itu karakternya jelek lah pokoknya. Aku memandang dia itu orangnya kayak super despicable. Aku robekin semua buku-bukunya dia.
Buku pelajaran?
Buku pelajarannya dia kayak his like paper belongings. I tore everything.
Oke, secara diam-diam atau di depan dia?
Nggak, secara diam-diam.
Dan dia nggak tahu?
Just to get even. No, and then eventually eventually there was an investigation and then I had to complain about it and then I suffered a lot of repercussions about that. That's a very poor example and again, I was like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so like the reason why I did what I did is because it doesn't sit well with me when people are not fair and when
dan kayak dia baik-baik, maksudnya dia berkeliaran, ada yang dilihat nggak fair.
Dia berkeliaran melakukan hal-hal yang ya menurut aku jahat dan yang nggak baik lah pokoknya, tapi there's no repercussions for him. Nggak ada kan kayak dia bertanggung jawab kah, nggak ada punishmentnya kah kayak gitu. Jadi like there so I guess that's why I did.
Kita bisa jadi salah satu
what I did.
Salah satu kejadian yang cukup spesifik sih.
Well, and when
yang ngebentuk sampai sekarang kan.
Well, and if you wanna membongkar my childhood trauma, sebenarnya waktu aku masih kecil aku juga sering dibully.
Oke.
Waktu aku masih kecil.
Korban bully berarti.
Iya, korban bully yang emang waktu aku masih kecil. So I know what it feels like to be, menjadi kaum yang terpinggirkan, yang, kaum yang kalau bullying itu ya semacam opresi juga kan, like menjadi kaum yang terpinggirkan, diopresi. I know what it feels like to be the underdog that everybody kind of just like shits on and points fingers at and like, loves to dump all the blame onto. The one that nobody gives a shit about of like, how you feel and like, whether things are fair for you. So I think that's also why kalau kalian lihat konten-kontennya aku LGBT lah, women, children, kaum-kaum yang termarginalisasi, dan itu resonate banget sama aku karena at some point I did know what that felt like and it feels like fuck, it's shit. Okay. And I know like when you're in that sort of position, how life changing it is to see that there is somebody out there that can and will fight for you, you know. So I guess that's why.
Oke. Kalau ditanya sama orang, misalkan kayak apa kabar gitu,
Yeah.
kayaknya bakal jawab I'm fine atau I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine.
Oh, tergantung situasinya dong.
Sekarang.
If you asked me,
Yeah.
how am I?
Yeah.
I think overall I'm quite, I don't want to say the word content. Because I feel like if I say that I'm content, then it sort of implies that I'm okay with just like the way things are in my life, the current dynamics I have in my life, and that there's no sense of urgency for me to like wanna like rise above or like, you know, become better, because obviously that's not the case. If you ask me if I'm doing okay, I think I'm doing okay. Like this is good for now, is how I would describe, you know, the way that I feel with where I'm at in my life. I know that I'm working hard. I know that I'm putting in effort, and that. Wah, ini beneran kayak terapi nih.
Really?
No. This really like. Have you been to therapy?
Once.
Okay, well, these are the sort of questions that usually the therapist asks to get you to kind of like introspect and like get to know yourself a lot more. Which I'm gonna be honest, like I appreciate this, and at the same time, this is so much more difficult compared to conversations where I talk about kebijakan misalnya, or like my opinions on things, because it's actually really easy for me to, you know, to process the world around me. I'm very analytical. I'm very observant, and like that's why I'm very opinionated. Like I think about everything, but I think about everything but myself. And part of that is also because I'm in a stage in my life where I'm just all about my career, right? Like I'm single, and like, you know, I have friends, but it's also hard to make time, to be able to make time to like, you know, go out and do the things that I objectively want to do, because I'm just in that phase in my life right now. But yeah, if you ask me like if I'm fine, if I'm okay, I think it's more so that I accept where I'm at right now. Like this is just what I have to do in order to get to someplace hopefully better, you know? Yeah, I guess that answers.
Kak Indah kan tumbuh besar bilang bahwa gue dari kecil sampai SD, SMP, SMA international school.
Yep.
Bahkan sampai kuliah pun ke US.
Yep.
Berarti dan memang secara sistem pendidikan itu banyak sosialisasinya itu sama orang asing gitu kan, dan dan berbagai kultur, budaya, agama,
semuanya,
ya kan, diverse. Pertanyaannya, kenapa bisa mendapatkan pendidikan di sekolah dan universitas internasional yang bisa dibilang itu sangat menengah ke atas kan?
Banget ya. Banget. Aku aja kan dulu, again bukan pamer, aku cuma I'm just stating facts here, sekolah di JIS itu nggak murah, ya kan? Ya. Kok bisa ya? Itu pertanyaan buat mami aku ya. My mom is a very difficult parent. I don't always have the best relationship with her, and there's certain things that I take issue with her. But yang udah pasti, I respect the living crap out of my mom, and she is the most badass woman that I've ever met. Susah banget menjadi ibu, a single mom. That motorcycle is really loud.
Tunggu dulu.
Susah banget menjadi single mom di Indonesia. Gak ada bapak, gak ada aku kakek nenek kan juga udah meninggal semua. So really like it's always been just me and my mom, and really I can't put into words just how much I respect what a hard worker she is, how dedicated and disciplined she is, and despite, you know, like I don't think we can expect for our parents to be perfect. She's not the perfect parent for sure. But she is a good parent, and she's present, and she takes care of me, and she supports me. And yeah, really like everything in my life that I have, my education, just the fact that I'm even able to do the things that I do online, and you know, like have all of these, like, make the type of content that I make, and a lot of people hate me for it, and probably, like, if I didn't have this financial security from my mom, like, I'd be fucked, like, because no one's gonna hire me, right?
Yeah.
And just the fact that I don't think myself as like orang yang pinter banget lagi pula kayak but just the fact things that I'm able to do, like exercising critical thinking. I'm a very independent thinker. Itu dari dulu juga aku kayak gitu. Aku berpikir aku sih rata-rata aku bisa berpikir untuk diri aku sendiri lah.
Udah kebentuk jadi karakter sendiri ya.
Udah kebentuk sangat individualis.
Oke.
Sangat individualis, dan itu ya emang semua gara-gara it's been afforded to me by my mother kan. So.
Oke.
Ya.
Dan berarti ya tadi sebenarnya Kak Indah sempat mention tumbuh besar di orang tua yang sangat berkecukupan kan berarti?
Yeah. Very privileged.
Oke.
Yeah.
Oke. Kak Indah pernah bilang dari kecil, ini maaf kalau agak sensitif ya, tapi
Gak apa-apa.
Ya Kak Indah pernah bilang kalau sejak kecil itu udah punya pikiran soal suicidal thoughts.
Yep.
Which itu adalah sebuah hal yang cukup ekstrim kan. Untuk dari kecil udah mikir kayak gitu, dan pasti sebuah masalah gitu yang pasti kita butuh berempati. Pertanyaannya, kenapa sejak kecil udah mengalami pikiran-pikiran itu tuh, punya suicidal thoughts?
So much of mental health is actually hereditary. So I suspect that mental illness runs in my family, definitely on my mother's side. So that's something that I suspect. I just think that genetically I had that predisposition, and then I think added on top of that, I wouldn't necessarily say that I had the easiest childhood, even though, of course, state the obvious, like, financial privilege was there. Like, I went to a very privileged school as well. But there's only so much that I think money can provide, if I'm going to be completely honest. And so it was also, even though, yes, I could afford things, and like I could eat, and like I slept on a nice bed. But, I think when you're young, those are very, I think when you're young and your parents are never really home. I'm also the only child, by the way, so I was really lonely as a child. And I'm very extroverted. I like being around people. I like talking to people. And connections was something that I really wanted when I was younger, but it was really hard to get. And on top of that, I was bullied, and like my mom was never really home, understandably, because she had to work. I think I wouldn't also dismiss how, even though I'm very fortunate to have had a mother that is able to provide financially as good as parents with as households with two-parent households. I also think that growing up missing one parent definitely had an effect dong.
Ya.
Pastilah ada.
Satu.
Ya, itu satu. Ya, yang nomor satu mungkin there were things that not having a, I think not having a dad did affect me in some ways, whether I even realize it or not. But it's also, things were rough at school. My mom wasn't really home, and when she was, I don't want to talk shit about my mom, but I understand she was under a lot of stress, and so sometimes at home, whenever she was home, it would just be her kind of like getting angry and yelling, and growing up, I always felt like I had to walk on eggshells around my mom, because any little thing that I say might just piss her off, and then I'm gonna get the short end of the stick, literally, because sometimes she'd hit me with one. That too, like my mom did, and I think this is unfortunately still common in Asian culture, where parents use physical force as like disciplinary methods, and so that was also a part of me growing up. And I think it's just a combination of different factors, really. And something that I recently realized probably was also a factor because I'm naturally very curious.
Oke.
So since a very very young age, I
Punya rasa
question.
penasaran yang tinggi ya.
Iya, penasaran yang sangat tinggi. And I'm naturally very critical of things, but not in a mean way, but it's just because I'm curious, right? And so I came to realize, because a friend, she kind of helped me realize this. I think when I was younger, it was also super stressful that I had a lot of questions about the world. Obviously, I don't have a dad to answer those questions. My mom wasn't ever really home to answer those questions. Even when she was home, she was in no mental, emotional state to be answering any questions from me. And then even at school, I think the one thing that people need to realize about the dynamics of going to an international school, I was in the international school system since like even kindergarten. I
Yeah.
went to an international one. But, even if you are an international, so alias a westernized school, kamu tuh masih berada di dalam Asia. So you're still operating within an Asian social
Ada
environment.
bentroknya ya.
Iya, jadi ada for example, like at school there was still from my teachers, especially my Asian teachers, ya mayoritas pasti orang Asia dong.
Iya.
Of this attitude of like, gak usah banyak-banyak nanya lah, udah ikutin aja lah. And then when I don't, it would just kind of get shut down under the guise of like, no, because that's just what you have to do. Like, you just listen to instructions.
Without any reasons.
Without really any reasons. I think, honestly, reflecting on like my childhood, that was salah satu sumber keresahan, where it's just, why am I getting punished for just asking? Simple things like, why did I have to wear a uniform? Right? Hal-hal sekecil itu.
Itu detail banget sih ya.
Detail
Karena
banget.
kan sebuah sistem yang udah biasa anak kecil ikutin aja gitu kan.
Nah, iya,
Entah
itu.
dia tahu kenapa gitu ya.
Nah, iya, itu. Or like, why can't I say the word stupid?
Oke.
Kan bad word kan.
Yeah.
Dulu I don't know
Yeah.
about now. I think
Kita diajarin tuh bad word. Kenapa ini jadi bad word?
yeah, why?
Oke.
Like why am and also just the fact that, for example, wow, you're making me remember a lot of things from my childhood. I hate you for this. No, but I remember in the 3rd grade, I got in trouble because I said the word, I called somebody stupid.
Oke.
But this person that I was calling stupid was because he was being mean to a friend of mine and me. Because this guy, he was teasing me and my friend about something, aku lupa lah kayak gitu. So I called him stupid. And then I got in trouble for calling him stupid for using a bad word. But he didn't get in trouble for being mean.
Oke, itu udah ada kejadian-kejadian kayak gitu ya.
It's
masa
really
sekolah ya?
like, it's simple
Iya,
things
simple
like
things.
that.
Tapi
really
core
kayak,
memory berarti.
oh banget. Iya, kayaknya ini
Yeah.
kalau film Inside Out ya, that's
Yeah.
one of those balls
Iya,
and like,
ada ini.
yeah, wow, fuck, I remember that now. Wow, things like that. And then my friend helped me realize, no, I feel like the reason why you are the way that you are too is because naturally you're very curious, you're very critical, and nobody ever gave you the time of day to even explain things that you wanted explained.
Terus berarti apa yang bikin Kak Indah survive dari pikiran itu sampai sekarang?
Oh ya kan, ini mulainya gara-gara aku dari kecil suicidal thoughts ya.
Iya. Tapi
Yeah.
itu menjelaskan, sangat
Yeah.
menjelaskan. Tapi apa yang bikin itu sampai akhirnya survive sampai sekarang?
Well, I and I'm open about the fact that it wasn't an easy journey getting here. Like, I have attempted suicide multiple times. Like, that is also something that I've talked about. And wow, this is really like morbid. It's actually quite like, I don't know. Do you know anybody in your personal life that's ever attempted suicide? If I may even be so bold to ask if you yourself have ever.
Ya, ada, tapi kayaknya nggak ada kesempatan untuk nanya sedetail ini.
Sedalam itu,
karena
okay, well,
kayak
this is your chance.
Di situasi itu it's very sensitive, jadi nggak sempet.
Of course.
Yeah.
Tapi kalau dari aku ya, this is gonna sound kind of stupid. Tapi untung juga aku orangnya, in moments where I really seriously wanted to kill myself. I know this is gonna sound so stupid. I think the reasons, untung aku orangnya cukup penakut in the sense, like, this is gonna sound stupid. It's like you wanna kill yourself, but you're also scared of the pain, how painful that's going to feel. And so that was definitely a deterrent. That's definitely something that I remember. And I think it's, a good thing. This is gonna, ini suaranya ini nggak enak didengar sih, tapi kayak bunuh diri itu butuh effort banget.
Iya.
Butuh
Ada
effort banget sebenarnya. Orang yang bunuh diri itu berarti mereka aku orangnya juga kadang-kadang cukup pemalas gitu.
Karena ada yang harus dipikir untuk melakukan itu kan?
Iya, yang kayak harus, dan ada bener serius niatnya gitu, kayak bukan niat ya. Kalau bukan cuma maunya aja, but can you actually go through with it? And it's a good thing. I think most people, or at least like with me, let me just I'm not gonna talk about most people, but let me just speak on my behalf. I guess maybe the saving grace with me is that it's never been that bad where I was like kayak bener-bener udah rock bottom banget, ya udahlah mati aja kayak gitu. Tapi lebih kayak I had so much negative emotions that I didn't know how to outlet, and I think it just manifested into me wanting to kill myself, even though and I think this might be good for some people to hear, like, fortunately, like, life actually does get better, and you can find outlets to channel all of that negativity besides just I want to die. Every single day is just waking up and I want to die. And life really does get better in stages and in waves, and it really is just a matter of having to be patient. But of course, that's just easier said than done. It's easy for me to say that now, versus like fucking 5 years ago, and that was my rock bottom. But how did back to your question of how I've been able to not kill myself?
Iya, kayaknya jawabannya terima kasih buat rasa takut.
Iya sih. Untung aku orangnya
ada rasa takut dan juga kayak aku sebenarnya aku ada satu my former classmate itu ngomong bahasa Indonesianya apa ya? Former classmate. Kita satu kelas dulu, teman satu kelas. Teman satu kelas ya.
Iya.
Teman kelas.
Aku sebenarnya ada teman satu kelas waktu aku SMA.
Oke.
Bunuh diri. Aku nggak tahu ya waktu dia melakukan itu ada nggak dia evaluasi. Aku juga orangnya kan banyak pikir ya. Aku tuh dikit-dikit aku mikirin banget gitu. Ada nggak ya dia waktu bunuh diri sempat mikir kayak what's gonna happen to my dad, what's gonna happen to my mom. Aku peti matinya tuh harganya berapa ya?
Oke, iya.
Terus nanti kalau aku udah mati, kamar aku dijadiin apa ya? Barang-barang aku tuh diapain ya? Disumbangin kayak, dijualin kayak.
Berarti itu termasuk rasa takutnya, bukan physically tapi juga.
Iya, I think so.
Ada pikiran-pikiran itu yang mungkin akhirnya ngebuat itu akhirnya bisa survive gitu kan.
Ya ada juga rasa kayak, kalau aku kan apalagi mami aku single mom kan, aku only child, anak satu-satunya. Jadi it's like whenever I wanted to think about killing myself, it's like what's gonna happen to mom, Dan untungnya tuh aku mungkin katanya bukan malas sih, bukan nggak malas memikirkan itu. Because I'm not implying that people that kill themselves like they're too lazy to think about that. I'm not saying that. But apa ya? Yeah, I think that does fall within the realm of rasa takut sih.
Yeah.
Dan juga untungnya masih ada ruangan untuk mempertimbangkan orang lain besides just myself.
Okay.
Because I wanna be sympathetic towards people that have committed suicide before in the past. Like I wouldn't call them selfish. I think it's just a matter of things really are just so bad that they just udah bener-bener itu ya.
Oke. Dan Kak Indah of course dengerin musik. Dengerin musik of course. Dengerin lagu, dan Kak Indah bilang your favorite song itu albumnya Tulus.
Yang Indo ya? Iya, Tulus.
Yang judul albumnya Manusia. Kenapa itu jadi album favorit Kak Indah?
Lah, kalau album iya sih, karena dalam album itu ada lagu Manusia Kuat. Nah, itu aku paling suka. Manusia kuat itu kita.
Ya, manusia kuat
itu
itu kita.
Jiwa-jiwa. Like, oh my god, I have a thing for songs that talk about like apa ya, kayak do you know this, pas banget tadi malam The Script kan mereka datang ke Indonesia, ke Jakarta for a concert. Do you know the song Hall of Fame?
Oh no.
Okay, singing in the Hall of Fame.
Iya tahu, oke. Ya. Oh ya, itu judulnya Hall of Fame ya?
Yeah, that one. I really like songs that kind of yang bikin kayak semangat, bukan cuma semangat hidup tapi kayak juga mengingatkan bahwa kayak hidup itu bukan cuma buat diri kita sendiri loh, kayak kita bagaimana kita itu juga bisa berkontribusi kepada humanity, berkontribusi kepada the communities that raised us, kayak gitu. So if you listen to the song Hall of Fame by The Script, if you look at the lyrics, like it talks a lot about that, of like, you know, you can be somebody great and it's not just for yourself, but it's for the people that are around you. You could make a change in the world that, you know, you could leave a legacy, even if it's like, not literally the Hall of Fame, but you can be somebody to make positive change in people's lives, and that's something that's always resonated with Tulus.
Berarti Kak Indah menemukan spirit, kayak bring up spirit dari musik-musiknya Tulus ya?
Yeah.
Right.
Dan juga, kalian juga suka Tulus kan?
Iya.
Who doesn't like Tulus?
Of course.
What a legend that man. Love him.
Kak Indah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. Do I stand
so
up?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I will finish this Indomie.